I'm on my way to Point Harbor, North Carolina. Don't know where the fuck it is. Never been before, but I know that it's out on the coast of North Carolina towards the beaches and shit. So I'm on my way out there now. I got stopped last night in Virginia. So I'm finishing off that drive now. And I wanted to come in here and deal with an interview I watched yesterday of Kanye West and Big Boy. If you haven't saw that video, you can just Google, or not Google, you can YouTube search Kanye Big Boy interview. Now, I watched this about 45-minute long video because I said, you know, maybe Kanye is just, you know, he got a plan of some sort. You know how y'all like to give people the benefit of the doubt. So they got some type of plan. Say they not a coon when they really are. Y'all tell me that I judge people too harshly sometimes. So I try to give this motherfucker the benefit of the doubt, right? So maybe if I listen to what he got to say, he'll explain himself better. No, that didn't happen in this interview. Now, what I will say is that he made some good points here and there throughout the little interview. I'll talk about his good points first because there are fewer of them. He spoke about black people being brainwashed. Now, the only problem with him speaking about black people being brainwashed is he didn't classify himself as one of those people that are brainwashed. We'll unpack that here more in a second because he's right about that. He also talked about the rap culture that are acting like they are against prisons, privatized prisons, and are for prison reform, but they still rap about things that will end a black man or woman up in prison, which I honestly think he was taking shots at Meek Mill and Jay-Z. I don't know for sure because I know they had that prison reform thing that they're doing, and you know they still kind of rap, you know. But that was also a good point. He talked about black people buying land. He said America is for sale. I think that was a good point as well. Now, throughout those three decent points, he still cooned the fuck out, and the big boy, who apparently respects Kanye, he spoke about him being a fan of Kanye. He couldn't really go in on him because Kanye wasn't really answering his goddamn questions. He had to ask the same question about this dumbass album called Jesus is King. Well, now Kanye is, you know, dedicating his art to Jesus. Now, y'all have seen him go around having this church service, you know, all over the place where he's, you know, playing the music, got him a choir and shit, and he's taking that church service all over. And there are a lot of people who are down with that. Y'all, he talks about the cancel culture, which I think he made a good point about that as well. But when you talking about God and Jesus, if you get canceled by black folk, if you pick up their delusion, if you jump right into their delusion with this God, Jesus, religious program and indoctrination, then you can come back and gain some would-be fans. A lot of people will say that Kanye lost his mind after his mom passed as a way to pity him or, you know, relate to him in some type of way. Almost to let his bitch ass off the hook. I can't do that for Kanye. I know how his mom died. It was some plastic surgery shit, which her old ass should have been getting plastic surgery anyway. Your son's rich. I don't know what you're doing, but I believe that was his sacrifice, and that may weigh heavy on his on his mind. People are letting him slide. People are, now that he's accepted his so-called mental illness, he's become, a voice for the mentally ill. And I think, if you have a mental illness, I don't think it just pops up when you're grown. It's something that you're dealing with throughout your life, and it manifests itself differently in different phases of your life. Him, making all this money and shit, I don't think that would have helped his so-called mental illness. I think that would have just put him in even a worse spot, because now you got money, and now you got everybody sucking your dick, and you kind of fall into having these would-be breakdowns, as he called it. He had some breakdowns, as he called it, and Jesus saved him through those breakdowns, which is why he's dedicated his life to Christ. He kept calling Jesus, or his God, his daddy. He said he out here serving his daddy. And when you say black people are brainwashed, and then you turn around and, on this white Jesus shit, that is, to me, it's a contradictory message. Because that's a part of the brainwashing, is you picking up this bullshit ass religion. You hear people talk about Jesus as God. You very rarely hear Christians talk about King James, the author of their book of, their faith. You very rarely hear any talk or speak about King James, because they ain't trying to get into all that. But nonetheless, he on this Jesus trip right now. And he started talking about his brainwashing. A lot of it, he was talking about how black people are choosing Democrats over Republicans. That's what he focused his brainwashing on, is that, he supports Trump. He'd rather somebody be racist in his face than racist behind his back, which is what he says Democrats are, which he does make a good point about that. And he talks about his mom and or dad, I'm not sure, being a part of the Black Panthers. And he says that they fought for the right for black people to have their own ideas. And he uses that to justify him supporting the Republican Party, or supporting Republicans. He's even given speeches. He gave one out in Salt Lake City, Utah. He's having church service where he talks about, his support of the Republican Party, what the Republican Party did for black people as to, quote unquote, freeing black people. He talks about that, but he's misinformed on a lot of information that he even has about the Republican Party as to how they, quote unquote, freed the slaves, and the reasons as to why they, quote unquote, freed the slaves. But he speaks on it and says that he's free. Basically, he's a free mind, but he still has the ideology that he has to pick between these two parties. And this is a situation that a lot of black people run into. I mean, a lot of people in general, really, is if you are a free mind, then you understand you don't have to support Democrat or Republican. Both of them don't fuck with you. So why fuck with either one of them? I don't give a damn whether they being racist behind your back, racist in your face. That doesn't mean you have to support either party. This is one of the, fallacies that we bite, or that we've given into in this reality. A part of the social engineering is that we must choose one or the other. If it's mom or dad or both were in the Black Panther Party, then the only party that ever supported black people was the Black Panther Party. That's the only one. Not the Democratic Party, not the Republican Party. But that's the brainwashing that he speaks about. He kind of talks about himself, as to being free because he is a Republican. And you'll hear, if you listen to black Republicans, you'll hear them take it as a sign of rebellion, or as a badge of honor even, that they are Republicans in spite of them supposed to be being Democrats. They'll take that as a badge of honor. Like, well, look at me. They told me to be a Democrat, which you will have. They do. But look at me. I'm a Republican. Ha ha ha. I'm a special black. I broke the code because I'm so fucking edgy that I'm a Republican. This is how stupid black people are. You should be not siding with either party, really. What Kanye does in this interview as a showing his scatterbrain. He's a scatterbrain motherfucker. And a lot of people will say, you know, I look at his comments, it's like, well, he just like that because he got so much on his mind. I got a lot on my mind too. I'm not scatterbrained. What I see is people make excuses for him. A lot of excuses being made for him. And they always do get made for him. He speaks about his own people calling him a coon. He said it fucks him up because he was the guy who says George Bush don't care about black people. And he uses that as an example of what he used to be. He said he was getting canceled before there was even a cancel culture. Because of that, the Taylor Swift incident, they were canceling him. And what he says here about the cancel culture, it really shines a light on black people when they decide to cancel someone. Because we know it's not real. We understand that black people cannot and will not boycott anything or any person whatsoever. Whether the person disrespects the culture, which Kanye says we're cultureless, we have no culture, and therefore we should be on some Republican Jesus shit, which is trash. But if a person insults the culture, it doesn't really matter because y'all ain't gonna cancel them for real anyway. They know this. Kanye says he's been canceled multiple times, but he's still here, and he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right about that. He is still here. He is still relevant. And he makes God as a responsible party in him having or gaining money. I love how people will act like their God, the one from the Bible, is responsible for them having money. That's impressive to me. That's what that's what Christians will say. And I know, and if you read that Bible, I don't really know that would-be God is going to be blessing you with a whole bunch of money. To me, money, and it's so even in the Bible it says the love of money is the root of all evil. And it's not even a natural thing. It's money. It's not a natural thing. I'm more, open-minded to Christians saying God blessed them with their life, the ability to breathe, health, things like that. But money, material, I don't really know about that, because he says what profit of a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul, essentially. So when Kanye is speaking on this God entity or this Jesus entity, to me he's just talking about the white man, because he says, black people can cancel me all they want to, but the white man still got me. And that's one thing that even when people are saying things anti-black, black people that say things anti-black, just like, for example, Candace Owens, white people are going to still support, regardless of black people's support. And white people make up the majority of people in this country. So if you still got support of white people, you still going to make you some money. He talks about his Yeezy brand being valued at over $3 billion. And he says that a couple times as he's bragging about it. You can still tell he's, even as a Christian or whatever the Jesus thing he's doing, he's still real narcissistic. He talks about his brand being valued at over $3 billion. And he did that. He said that happened because he's serving Jesus. Well, no, that happened because you became a coon, you see. That's what Big Boy just sit there and let him say all this shit. Now, he was trying to ask some questions, and Kanye was jumping all over the fucking place. But that happened because you're a coon. You're anti-black. So being anti-black, having anti-black talking points, white people will support you. They will make your brand be worth over $3 billion. He talks about black Twitter, and he makes a point, and I don't even know if some of the people, when I was reading the comments, I don't know if people caught this or not. Big Boy says to him, you know, what about white Twitter? Because he done trash black people, black Twitter, black culture. There is no black culture. Motherfuckers is just lost out here, you know. But he says, oh, he loves white Twitter. Actually, the owner of Twitter, one of the creators of Twitter, comes to hang out with Kanye. And he said he loves him. He talks about all these white business people or would-be dignitaries coming to hang out with him. And Big Boy says, well, don't forget about us. That's what he says to him. Now, me, ain't no goddamn way I ask a black person not to forget about us. That shouldn't be something you have to ask. If you can look at yourself in the face in the mirror and forget about yourself, then ain't nothing for me to tell you. That sound like begging to me, and I'd be goddamn. I'm not gonna ask a motherfucker not to forget about us, per se. I don't really give a fuck whether Kanye forgets about me or not. I don't need him to be a spokesman for me, you see. Black people need him to be a spokesman for them for whatever reason, which I still can't fully understand. But, you know, I don't need him to be a spokesman for me. He's not even worthy enough to be a spokesman for me based on the stuff that he says and his actions. So he's not intelligent enough to be a spokesman for me. But what people have to understand when they watch, if you watch this interview, is that this is a motherfucker that's done sold out. He'll talk like he, you know, for black people, for the betterment of black people in points, but then all he's doing is chastising black people. I don't like when, you know, these famous people come in to simply chastise black people, which I'm going to chastise black people as well, so don't get it fucked up. I'm going to chastise people as well, black people as well, but it's going to come from a place of love, and I want you to be enlightened. I want you to wake up. Not wake up and be a Republican. Not wake up and be a Christian. And, you know, he knows that y'all are fickle. And even if y'all do cancel him, the white folks still got his back, so it doesn't really matter. He knows that about black people. I want black people to have more of a resolve, more of a punishment for motherfuckers who come out here and be anti-you. But y'all won't do that, you see. And me requiring you to do it makes something be wrong with me. You know, I'll be the issue. Asking y'all to boycott holidays and things like that. This man got on there and disrespected black people in several different ways. He makes a couple points, but he doesn't give them any context. He basically says that, you know, the whole racism, white supremacy thing, that's just an excuse. Y'all done heard that before. This, again, these aren't new. He didn't say anything new. He didn't say anything new or different. He just said the same shit that black Republicans been saying. And it's like, you know, what you mean? All of a sudden, because white people like you, you above racism? A lot of black people fall into that trick, or fall for that trick. And it's bullshit. Now, they may have your back. White people gonna carry you. They gonna put you up on their shoulders because you're, you know, pushing their agenda. Kanye is just a bitch-ass coon that happens to have decided to be on this Jesus shit. That's all. And Jesus isn't a foreign concept to black people. That's why he's able to go into these areas and have black people celebrating with him. This is what enables that to happen. But you have to understand what he's doing. And Big Boy was just sitting there. And I'm sitting there like, dude, stop trying to be nice to this motherfucker and bang on this bitch ass. Like, don't nobody ever want to bang on this bitch ass motherfucker. Ever. Every time I see him in an interview, nobody's banging on him. Let's talk about Jesus is King, the album. What made you write this album? Like, what? And Kanye just going in about everything. Saying all types of shit. And Big Boy's like, well, we can agree to disagree, but what made you write Jesus is King? It's like, dude, who gives a fuck what made him write it? That doesn't matter what made him write it. Do you hear what's coming out of his fucking mouth? As he's convoluting points? Disrespecting black people? Hell nah, man. Y'all let these motherfuckers get away with all types of shit. Even a lot of these interviewers, man. Like, as I'm trying to watch more interviews, and I got another one I'm going to do too on Vlad and Lord Jamar, but as I'm watching people be interviewed, these interviewers are trash. They let people say anything. They be like, It's because these motherfuckers be fans of people. That's that fanboy shit. And Big Boy says he was a fan of, Kanye, is a fan of Kanye. Like, motherfucker, don't nobody want to hear about how much of a fan you are. You're there to interview this motherfucker. Hold him to task. Now, I ain't saying, talk about his personal life, but if you are sitting there and it's coming out of your mouth and you saying some wild shit right here in my face, I'm not going to just let that shit ride. But a lot of interviewers let these motherfuckers say any goddamn thing. Because they on that fan shit. Like, well, we could talk about it later. Like, no, talk about it right now. He's saying it right now. He's saying this shit right now. He says that he's shaking up the white man's house. He said that's why people try and tell him to be quiet, because he in the house and he wasn't the type of, he compares it kind of like a house nigga, but he one of the ones that's making so much noise and all the other slaves want to keep him quiet. Like, what? How the fuck you, big boy, how you let him say that shit, bruh? The white man love what Kanye got to say. He trying to make it seem like, black people hating on him for the way he think and shit. And that's just not, it's like, nah, bro, ain't no hate. You're a coon. People are telling you or trying to show you your self-hate. Your sellout ass behavior. As you talk about how much you love white people right here in this interview, this is what you're saying. Ain't nobody trying to tell you to be quiet because you shaking up the world by being a Republican, by supporting Donald Trump and loving Jesus. That ain't shaking up the world, nigga. You're not doing anything unique or spectacular. Being a sellout and loving Jesus, that's black people. 99%. That's not, ain't nobody. But y'all letting this motherfucker think this stuff. His crew, his team, his surrounding bodies, the people who are around him are letting him run around here thinking this stuff. Like, nigga, ain't nobody trying to hold you back because, you're causing some type of problem, or, what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like he's some type of activist, or, like, no, you're not doing nothing different, bruh. You're not doing shit different. What you did that was different was when you would say George Bush don't care about black people. That was different for somebody to get on TV and say something like that. Well, I like the Republicans because I like my racism in my face. Like, that ain't different. No. Saying fuck politics. Period. Fuck it all. That's different. Like, that's what you don't hear celebrities or these famous motherfuckers. They fuck it all. It's all a game. This shit's not real. You don't hear that. That would be different. Not pick a side. The Democrats trying to control your mind. Don't let them. Be free. Be Republican. Like, what? This is what Republicans say. All of them. So you got to understand that when people, I'm looking in the comments, and comments is problematic to me. Because I'm watching people absolve him of what he's saying. They taking small quotes of what he said, and they saying church or preach or he's on point. You know how people do that, just quote a little piece and then be like, true facts, you know, dumb nigga shit. Like, but if you listen to the whole thing, it doesn't balance out, you see. Because I agree that black people need to love each other, stop killing each other. We should buy up our areas. I agree with that. Wholeheartedly agree with that. But that don't mean you get to say that and then come everything else you say is some coon shit. And I just pull these two things out and say, yeah, see, Kanye, man, boy. No. That's what niggas do. That's what niggas do for these famous motherfuckers. They can speak on some coon shit for 35 minutes. Say 2 minutes of some, you know, real shit. And man, you see? Boy. Like, no. Let's focus on them 35 minutes because you saying in the 2 minutes, we've been saying that already. Anyway. Acting like black people are in support of killing one another is some bullshit that people like to do as well. We allow them to do it. We don't hold them to task. We'll let it be known or almost even perceived that black people don't care about black people killing other black people. We'll let that be, you know. We don't try to look at the root cause of it and the fact that, you know, every other community in the world conducts themselves the same way. It's a human condition, not a black people condition. It's a human one. Humans crazy as fuck. Something wrong. Everywhere. In any group. Whoever you live around, that's who you're going to commit acts of violence towards. That's how it is. If you walk out your house to slap a bitch or shoot a motherfucker, you going to be doing it with people that look like you. I don't give a damn you white, Chinese, so-called Hispanic. It doesn't really matter. You're in these areas. This is what you're going to be doing. That's just how it is. So, you know, it's a human thing. So when you have people that will come on and try to make it act like, or make it seem like black people are in full support of this, it's just trash. It's trash as fuck. But y'all let them do it. Y'all talk about how woke they are. But Kanye's thing is that he's free, and people like Big Boy will allow this shit to slide. I disagree completely with letting him slide. I believe that as an interviewer, if you person make a good point, you can say, well, I agree with that. You know, but you don't let them just say anything. You answer them questions. You see he's not answering your fucking questions at all. You're asking them, he's not answering them. Well, then now let's just bang. It should become let's bang. Let me show you how much of a fucking coon you are. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, if y'all ain't seen it, go watch it. You know, I know I ran off on this shit, but I ain't talked to y'all in a while. But y'all just go check it out, and you can see for yourself what I'm saying. It's Kanye, Big Boy. You know, this dude's love for Jesus. Jesus my daddy. Like, ew. Like, that shit sounds so fucking gay to me. Like, that's my daddy. Like, what? I'm serving my daddy. What? Y'all niggas kill me with this stupid, I mean, this Christian talk is just so problematic to me. Like, if you really listen to it, it's so slavish, if I can use slave in that tense. It's just slavish. Like, that's my daddy. Like, what? You gay? That's some gay ass shit to say, man. Especially for a grown ass man with kids, and that's my daddy. Like, nigga. What are you saying? And why is Big Boy just sitting there letting you say all that shit? Like, I sit here, I was serious I'm still serious, but I didn't laugh the whole time. I was serious the whole time. Y'all saw me. But I mean, come on. How you let somebody say, that's my daddy? More than once he says this. Jesus, my daddy. More than once. After a while, I've been like, yo, you kind of, you landed on thick with this daddy shit. It's a little bit gay. You at least got to tell somebody, But y'all watch the shit and let me know what the fuck y'all think. I know I ran off on this video for a while, but again, I ain't talked to y'all in a while. And there's a lot to unpack because, when we see these types of interviews, you have to unpack them bitches because this is black people be thinking this shit is, the future. Like this is what black people should be free like this. And of course, Christians, they're gonna eat up the whole Jesus bullshit. Well, I start serving God and things change for me. Well, you start serving white folk. That's what you did. That became your God. I wish black people would just accept it for what it is. You start doing better when you started serving white folk. Entertaining white folk. So that's what it is. When you stop giving a fuck about your would-be black audience. That's what happened. So, y'all comment if you feel need to comment. Go check that video out. And let me know if I'm talking crazy or what. Comment if you feel need to comment. Like, share, subscribe. Links in the description box. Shout out Team Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.